A lot of Imperials, when pressed, would probably admit Endor did not go exactly how they may have liked, and today we're going to talk about how that might have been avoided, specifically how Grand Admiral Thrawn advised Palpatine to alter his plans. The second Death Star's construction over Endor was a massively expensive undertaking. In a prior animated map video, I went over one of the related elements which cost a massive amount of credits itself, the creation of a secret hyperspace lane to reach Endor with supplies to build the battle station. I'll link that full video in the cards and in the description, but these kinds of extra infrastructure projects just go to show how important the second Death Star was to Palpatine's plans. Beyond its use as a direct weapon of terror and planetary annihilation, Palpatine saw the second Death Star as an opportunity to lure the rebels out of hiding, to destroy their fleet in one strike. And as we know from Return of the Jedi, this did not go exactly to plan, with the rebels ultimately being able to shut down the shield generators planetside, allowing the fleet in orbit to destroy the Death Star and send the remaining Imperial fleet into disarray. Prior to the battle, even within just a year of the destruction of the first Death Star, Emperor Palpatine joined forces under Grand Admiral Zarin in part of his tour of the Outer Rim, during which Palpatine met with future Grand Admiral Thrawn over the forest moon of Endor. Thrawn, though he had not yet been made a Grand Admiral, had still proven himself highly capable to the Emperor and to Darth Vader, and his strategic and tactical opinions were highly valued by both. This respect is something that Thrawn shares both with his Legends and canon portrayals, with the new canon version of Thrawn having multiple interactions with Darth Vader in many different time periods. In the novel Choices of One by Timothy Zahn, which is a sequel to another of his novels, Allegiance, Palpatine showed and explained the defenses around the Death Star, particularly the shield generator, to Thrawn, who gave his own opinions on how defenses could be improved. Thrawn first asked if the moon had any inhabitants, and when Palpatine said only primitives lived there, Thrawn suggested that Palpatine burn away all forest within 100 kilometers of the shield generator, defending it with a single force of AT-ATs, juggernauts, and other smaller support vehicles, as well as a small garrison of infantry. By Thrawn's logic, this would have turned the shield generator into an almost impenetrable fortress, while still requiring the investment of fewer resources than the regular patrols that had to be done across a much larger area. If there's no forests, then you can see anyone coming from any direction without as many units deployed. And this would allow those now freed up units to be deployed in other problem areas across the Empire. Now, unless he somehow expected that the Empire would go through the effort of relocating the Ewoks, who they both called a primitive species first, Thrawn was essentially suggesting that Palpatine burned them all as well, and this wouldn't have been the first time that Thrawn took brutal methods to exterminate an enemy. Except in this case, they were more just an inconvenience than an actual enemy. The way that Thrawn gets portrayed in different media and the evolution of that over time is an interesting topic in and of itself, and something that I definitely want to cover in my profile video for Grand Admiral Thrawn once we get there, now that we've done the other 12 Grand Admirals. But while Choices of One doesn't really have Thrawn at his most brutal in its portrayal directly, this is definitely one of the darker suggestions that Thrawn has because of its implications. Palpatine agreed that Thrawn's suggestion would make the defense much easier, but he revealed to Thrawn that such an impregnable defense was not actually the goal, and too strong a defense would deter the assault he hoped would come from the rebellion, trapping them and destroying them. With that in mind, Thrawn still raised concerns about the Ewoks, warning the Emperor that even seemingly primitive groups can be highly effective in the right circumstances. Thrawn was, as we know, right to be concerned, but Palpatine dismissed his points. At worst, Palpatine considered them to be a non-factor, and at best, Palpatine believed the Ewoks were so averse to outside contact that they would be equally hostile to the rebellion as the Empire. It'd be pretty easy to just laugh at him for being wrong here as he falls down his pit, but he was actually pretty close to being correct. We see in Return of the Jedi that the Ewoks were not actually that receptive to the rebellion at first. They weren't just unfriendly to them, they were planning to eat them. It was only 3PO's intervention after being seen as basically a god and some tricks from Luke that the Ewoks were able to join forces with the rebellion, helping to take down the garrison guarding one of the entrances to the shield bunker. Ultimately, this doesn't make a huge difference to Palpatine because he'd already been thrown down a shaft by the time the Death Star blew up. Either way, that's going to do it for today. Let me know in the comments whether you think Palpatine should have listened to Thrawn and made the Death Star too impregnable, or if the basic idea of using the Death Star as a trap to lure in the rebels was the right call. In recent weeks, especially last weekend, I've been gone for a bit, either taking days off to visit family or working on some other stuff, so hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll be able to get back up to at least 2 videos per day. But I've also been working on getting the Clips channel established, where I do similar videos but only a minute or less, so if you like the videos on this channel, you may enjoy checking that out as well. I try to keep the feed separate so I don't flood people's subscription feed with that kind of thing, if that's not what they're interested in. For those that are interested, there will be a link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.